Views and opinions expressed on this program or the products endorsed on this program are not necessarily those of KTLB Radio.
Good morning, Oklahoma City, and welcome to the Clara Luper Show. In a moment, your host, Sister Clara Luper.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Oh, Lord.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a good morning to you wherever you are. This is Saturday, September the 8th, 2001. No wonder the people from Grayson and Hoffman are so happy because today their annual picnic will take place at 1 o'clock at the home of Mrs. Marilyn Hildred. That's at 1 o'clock, according to Mr. Gene Ford, the president. The picnic will be exciting. There will be a song and songs by Mr. T.C. Howard and Mrs. Inez Carter. Special presentations will be made by Mrs. Helen Howard. It will be a day when you can hear the melodious voice of Patricia Crisp. What's going on as it relates to people from Grayson and Tulsa and Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, and that will be presented by Gene Ford and a representative from Tulsa, Grayson, and Wichita. Reverend V.H. Higgins will give that blessing prayer. It will be playtime, and whatever you do, Mr. Gene Ford said, all of you from Grayson and Hoffman, be sure and be present. It happened. It happened. Well, the city school board backs the $530 million plan. And today we're going to get some reaction to that plan. There are a lot of questions that we want to ask. I had the opportunity to attend a meeting where they were discussing the plan. The church was full. And then I had the opportunity to go to the board meeting where there were only 12 black people from Northeast Oklahoma City present. I had the opportunity to hear the board member, Thelma Park, say that we have the cooperation of the community and all, and this has been a community coalition. I heard Mrs. Parks thank Representative Toure, Representative Cox, Senator Munson, Reverend Parker, and others for their cooperation. I guess you forgot to thank me. Maybe I was not cooperating, and I have not been very cooperative because there were some questions that I would like to have answered, and I will give you my opinion. I don't know how many of you out there really realize what's happening. Mr. Roosevelt Milton will call me today. You've read everybody else's side. Let's hear a different side of it. Well, what would be your different side? Well, all you've got to do is to read the morning's paper. Because we are talking about $530 million plan. We are talking about bricks and mortar. We aren't talking about teachers and janitors. We aren't talking about secretaries and the people that keep up the school. We are talking about beautiful buildings with low-paid employees. Now, let's look at it. Let's look at it and see actually what happened. Let me tell you what I think's happening. Now, you've got to realize that my thinking is based upon my historical experience. Well, in first place, they're going to build a new Douglas High School for $33,300,000. They're going to build a new Grant High School. I want you to listen to this. For $34,352,000. Now they're going to spend $1 million more on the Grant High School than on Douglas High School. What will be at Grant that will not be at Douglas? Let me read that again while you all are rejoicing. The new Douglas High School will cost, according to the figures, $33,300,000, but the new U.S. Grant High School will cost $34,352,000. Well, it's a basic difference between those schools now. According to my math, what will be the difference in Douglas High School and Grant High School? Well, there will be a difference in dollars. Grant will get more money than Douglas High School. Now let's look at Northeast High School. To improve Northeast High School, they will spend $5,282,437 for Northeast. But to Improve Capitol Hill, $8,592,896. Now there's a $3 million difference. What would be the difference between Star Spencer? I haven't gotten to Star Spencer yet, but Northeast High School, $5,282,437, and Capitol Hill, $8,592,896. Now let's look at Star Spencer School. To improve Star Spencer School, they will spend $3,249,547. But to improve Southeast High School, $5,867.46. To improve Southeast High School, $5,867, $867,000 to improve Southeast. But Star Spencer, $3,249,547. Now let's see if we can look further at the great plan. The plan that these people have worked on. Call it kids project or whatever. But I want you to look at it. And first I call your attention to it mathematically. Now let's continue to look at it mathematically. Northwest Classen High School to improve $14,047,414. Northwest Classen High School, and let me repeat, Northeast High School to improve $5,282,437. But Northwest Classen High School, $14,047,414. Well, let's look a little bit further. Do you mind looking with me? Don't take my word for it. It's in your morning's paper on page 10:8. I would like to repeat. They're going to replace John Marshall High School and put it on the lake. Who lives near the lake? But to put it near the lake, they are going to spend $29,360,000 on a new high school to replace John Marshall High School near the lake. Now, if you look at this very carefully, and you have to look at it through the eyes of history, you just can't pick up and say, oh, we got a good deal. And I do hope that our board members, Mr. Claudius and Mrs. Thelma Parks, will call and explain that to you, because I cannot explain it. Mathematically, it seems to me that it's discrimination, but I could be wrong. But if I'm wrong, then tell me, why build a high school at Douglas for $33 million and one at Grant for $34 million? Now, it seems to me that, once again, the white schools are getting the benefit of the doubt. I would like to further state that we have everybody talked about everything except integration. And in 1954, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that segregation in itself in school was unconstitutional. But here we have a situation where in the next 100 years, the schools will be completely segregated. And one speaker stated that there will be black students, white teachers, just a few black teachers, and mainly somebody else will be principals beside our people. But I want to deal on these figures and tell me how happy you are about it. New Douglas High School, $33,300,000. Grant High School, $34,352,000. Well, what's the difference? Oh, I don't know. There's $1 million there. Maybe Mrs. Thelma Parks would call poor Clara Luper and tell her about it, because Mrs. Parks came out of Muskogee High School and I came from Grayson High School, and we were taught that $33 million for one school and $34 million for another one would make a great difference. Well, let's deal with why the white folks moved out, because they didn't want their children in schools with blacks, and built new schools. Where? In Edmond and Moore and all around. They moved because they didn't want integrated schools. Now, I guess they're thinking that if they build these beautiful buildings, the good white folks will come back. Well, I don't know, but you'll be around to tell the story. Will they come back, or did they leave to keep their kids from attending integrated schools. No one mentioned integration except the president of the NACP, Roosevelt Milton, Oklahoma City. And I know you all are going to be so happy. You will go to the polls and you will vote to build a new Douglas High School for $33,300,000 and a new Grant High School for $34,352,000. I do hope that Mrs. Parks will call and explain the difference in the figures. But something else, some of this money will go for private schools and chartered schools. Who do you think will be attending the private schools and the public schools? Well, I don't know. But I do know that I don't know. I do know that. And I want to tell you, I don't know why a Board of Education would spend more money for one high school if they are building two new high schools for approximately the same number of students. On one would be on the white side of town, the other would be on the black side of town. But on the black side of town, they would spend $33,300,000, and on the white side, they will spend $34,352,000. Mr. Clara, explain that to me. Mrs. Parks, explain that to me so I can understand. They're going to do something to Star Spencer. $3,249,547. Star Spencer. But Southeast, they're going to spend $5,867,4,600. Well, anyway, I told them that I didn't trust the Board of Education, and I say that I told them to their face. I don't trust them because since I've been in the school system, I've seen all kind of plans. Each plan was going to work. The Finley plan, the neighborhood school plan, and all. They told us that they didn't want our children bused because poor little children would get up. But what's going to happen now? A few years later, they come back and say it's all right to bus them to these beautiful new schools. A new school where the Board of Education will spend X amount of dollars for class and school of advanced studies. $6,054,864. But for Star Spencer High School, $3,249,547. And you told me to rejoice and dance and have a good time and say we have won a victory. I think, now this is what I think, and one thing about it, I think something, let's see how my grandmother would put it. It's a dead cat on the line. Today at 10 o'clock, according to President Ora Moulton, the members of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority will meet at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King. They will be called this morning the Ladies in White, and they will meet at 10 o'clock at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King. This portion of our program is brought to you by a Zeta, Merlin Hildred. Merlin says that if you're talking about insurance, call her at 843-0811, Allstate Insurance Company, 730 North Britton Road in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Merlin will take care of your home insurance, your automobile insurance, yes, your life insurance, name it, and Merlin will take care of it. Allstate Insurance Company in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I want to hear from you today because I might be wrong to even have the idea called to your attention that Douglas High School will be built for $33,300,000 and Grant will be built at $34,352,000. Well, new high school, well, what would be a Grant that will not be at Douglas? I don't know. But I do know one thing, that this portion of our program is brought to you by Robert Gates at 2609 North Martin Luther King. Mr. Gates is ready now to take care of business. He's ready to cut your hair in a fashion that you will love it. He has a big sign up which says, "We make people beautiful." And when you walk into that barber shop, when you see the beautiful flowers, you will say, "You are right, Mr. Gates, you're right." Hometown, 2001 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, is open 24 hours for your convenience, and they would like to thank you for your cooperation. Well, one thing about Tom's Barbecue, located at 2504 Northeast 10th Street, you can get that special today. And today is a special day at Tom's. So I want you to go to Tom's and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. My telephone out here is 672-1220. I hope I have the right number. If not, you know that Clara Luper is getting ready for that big party given by Grayson and the people from Grayson and Hoffman that stick together. I wonder today, will maybe somebody from Grayson will explain to me how we can grin and say we got a big victory, and one high school is being built for $33 million and the other one for $34 million. I wish Mr. Claudius or Mrs. Parks would call and tell you that. Now, I'm saying that that's discrimination even in the figures now. And I'm saying that the people left Oklahoma City because the white folks left Oklahoma City because they didn't want to any integrated schools. And I would like to say that. And I never shall forget the last words I heard Thurgood Marshall say when the Supreme Court was listening to the Dow case when they said in Oklahoma City we got integrated schools. And our honorable Supreme Court justice said, I want to know if the schools are segregated. Yeah, sure the schools are segregated. Don't take my word for it. You go around and look at the schools. But one thing that's not segregated is Johnson Shadina's 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City, and 2611 North Martin Luther King. Mrs. Gloria Matthews would like to thank you, along with her husband, Mr. Paul Matthews, for your support through the years. Johnson Shadina is one of the oldest daycare centers in the state of Oklahoma, and now they are dealing with children's children. All at Johnson Shadina's. Why? Because of the efficient staff, the dedicated workers, and the delicious food, the environment there at Johnson Shadina's, 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City. You may call 424-4656. Well, this is Clara Luper, and I sure want to hear from you. I want you to explain to me, you Douglasites, the new Douglas School that you're rejoicing about. $33,300,000. The new U.S. Grant High School, $34,352,000. And you're ready to take the ball and run with it. Yes, we are running ourselves right back to a situation we were in during the dark, dreary days of segregation. Why are you building a high school near the lake? Who's going to be hired to patrol the lake to keep our kids from jumping in the lake? I don't know. Well, I do know one thing, that there were only 12 people at the Board of Education meeting when the voting took place, and everybody voted for this plan. They call it Plan B, a big victory. What is victory anyway? Do we know victory when we see it? I don't know, but I know that Mr. Claudius and Mrs. Thelma Parks are anxious to explain to you, the citizens, exactly what the difference has made. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know. What do you think? My telephone number out here is 672-1220, and I'm expecting the president of Langston University to call me today because everybody's getting ready for the big homecoming and the big celebration out at Langston. Calvin is a graduate of Douglas High School, and I know he's proud because they're going to get a new building. How long did it take them to improve the library? If that library had been built at another school in Oklahoma City, it would have been back before you could pop your fingers. In the first place, I don't know. Calvin, I guess you're rejoicing today because you're going to get a new Douglas High School at the price of $33,300,000, and they're going to get a new Grant High School at the price of $34,352,000.
Mom, that's not the reason I'm rejoicing. I'm rejoicing, one, because I'm so happy to be a part of the Clara Luper radio show this beautiful Saturday morning and to hear you and to see you. And I want to compliment you on how good you look this Saturday morning. I haven't seen a prettier mama, I don't think, ever. Now, that leads
That's quite
into
a
me.
compliment, Calvin. But I'm asking you about your school.
Well, I'm going to tell you about my
your
school.
victory.
I'm going to tell you about my school. My school is my school.
Are you
And
happy because Grant High School will have $1 million
Well-
more than Douglas High School?
You know, we've always had competition between the high schools here in Oklahoma City, and there always will be competition.
Sure, there will be
And
competition.
there's always been
Sure.
something has
It
happened.
always will.
But you know, Mom, we have some more time here, and I definitely want to give my opinion on Douglas High School, I got an opinion on what the school board has done. I got an opinion.
Okay.
I got an opinion.
Well, in the meantime, we have somebody here on telephone.
Do they have an opinion?
Yeah, I'm
We
sure
don't
they
know.
have an
Okay.
opinion about something. Good morning, this is Clara.
I'm so pleased that I could get through to you. This is Winnell. And I'm just calling to comment on what has been going on. If you will recall, black people don't need the same money white people need in order to exist. That's why you have a discrepancy in the salaries. That's why you have white principals, administrators of black schools. That's why you have white teachers teaching black children, because the black teachers don't know how to teach black children. And all black people need is a promise. And you don't really have a good promise with this. If you will recall, when they had this bond before,
93 million.
yes, okay, they were going to air condition all the schools and all of this kind of stuff. Where did the money go? It went to the people who needed it most, white people. It went over to Nichols Hills and all around. And the black people got what they really needed, a promise. See, and this is what this is again. You don't need the kind of money white people need in order to exist. All you have to do is get that promise, and it's forthcoming. See, now, look at economy. Black people built this place, and they didn't need money. They needed a promise. And all these white people that came over here afterwards, and Asians and all of these other people that came over here after, they needed money, but the black people keep them out. You can't even get, the Africans can't even get a visa to come over here to visit their relatives who have been unidentified all of this time. Black people, although they are Africans and what have you, the black culture of Africa is better depicted by Asians who make the kente cloth, who make all of this other, and bring it over here, because the Africans cannot explain or depict their culture as well as other people.
Well,
What about other things? The most beautiful cotton in the world comes from Africa, Egypt. But can they Egyptians send it over here straight away to black people so they can disperse it? Of course not. It must go through China or India or some other place and then come by. And the only way you know it's Egyptian fabric is that it's stamped on there some kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? Black people don't need money. They just need promises. And by George, they get them all the time.
So when the people go to the polls to vote, they can be voting for promises.
That's all. That's all. And they stick out their chest and think, oh, we're going to get this. And they're not going to get anything but what they have been promised. Ms. Luper, you are the voice in the wilderness, crying out for justice. And it seemed to be an elusive.
I think that you have really given us a different view, and I want you to write that down because I'd like to give it to some people, send it to some people. What we got, what we got was promises. They promised us they're gonna put some air conditioners.
That's right.
You know, I went to one school and they had a bunch of computers, but they didn't have anything to turn the computers on.
Of course not.
Didn't have
They
any
had
monitors.
computers in their school. Black people had computers in their school with no software. But the white people got the top-of-the-line software because they need these computers and that software. Black people only need something to look at. Don't need to know how to do anything. If you will recall, they even took the typing classes out of the black schools, and they had to have a big fight in order to put it back in there because black people don't need to know how to type. What they gonna type?
Okay, we are living in a technical period where we need carpenters and plumbers. Do we have any schools now? I remember so well Mr. Sloth and Mr. Jones and all those people that taught our people how to build houses. We don't need to know how to do that anymore, do we?
Of course not. Why do you need to build houses? It's better for you to live on the bridges. You understand what I'm saying? When this country was being built, okay, they brought the top whatever they could find out of Africa here, and they built the I call them mausoleums there in Washington D.C. All those big fine
all those buildings, all that masonry and all that.
This was built by slave labor.
Right.
Okay, the whole country was developed by slave labor. But you see, now that it's built and all these foreigners have come in here, what does the government say? We don't want to make a distinction between ethnic groups. They made a distinction between ethnic groups when they were building the country, and who got the tab. Black people did everything for these brothers that could be done, that needed to be done, and had to be done, and desired to be done. And then once this so-called freedom came, as my grandfather used to say, before my time, of course, but it's been passed on down to me. After freedom came, he was no longer needed. He was only needed to go out and die for the white people in the war. Look at what has happened. You got bombs being dropped on Tulsa. Now, what did you have over in Palestine? You got bombs being dropped on the Palestinians. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but look
These
at
are dark-skinned people.
I understand that, but I don't understand why in this big plan that everybody is rejoicing about, according to some people, that Northwest Classic High School, they will spend $14,047,414 taking care of that. But at Northeast High School, they will only spend $5,282,437.
Because you don't need what white people need. They have greater needs than you have. You understand? Black people don't need what white people need. Because the white people are the controllers. They are doing everything, and they must control these darkies to keep them in their place. This is what that is. If you have, listen, if you have people who are eating corn on the cob.
Okay.
Okay. Corn on the cob requires teeth in order to get it from that. Okay. The white people don't have no teeth, and the black people don't have no teeth. But they get a dentist to fix some fixtures in there for the white people because they can eat this corn on the cob. And what do the black people do? Gum it.
Okay, well, help me out, caller, and I appreciate your call. You don't know, it's very enlightening. Your outlook on things, and it's really real. What was your name again? What's your name?
Mrs. Brunel.
Brunel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He has explained the mathematical part of it so that I can understand.
Yeah, me too.
Because he said that black folks don't need number what?
A promise. You got good intentions. We plan on building a bigger and better school, but it won't be in your lifetime.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you, caller. That was good.
That was really good.
And there's so much truth in that because
they
we have
promised
been
us
promised.
so many acres or somebody else. I want to hear.
That was a promise too. Promised us the right to vote. That was a promise too. But we have another call on the line,
Okay.
Mom, and
I'm expecting Dr. Holloway to call me today.
okay. Well, we'll see what this call
Okay.
is. This is Clara Luper Radio Show. We want to thank you for being a part of it. Welcome so much to the show. How are you doing?
Very well, sir. How are you?
Fantastic. And who am I talking with,
Is
man?
this Brother Calvin?
Yes, this is.
This is Dr. Holloway.
I knew that voice sounded familiar. Mr. Progress.
Dr. Holloway, I've called your attention to the fact that our people need to know what's going on at Langston University.
Well, of course, we are educating young men and women for one thing that's going on. And another thing that's going on, of course, we are getting ready today. I'm en route to Dallas, Texas. Hopefully we can win our first game.
All right, let's go, Langston. Come on, Lions.
Getting ready to. We are playing Paul Quinn this afternoon. I'm sending the band, and half of Langston University is going down to see can't we bring back our first victory for this
All right. Dear Langston.
So that's what's going on as we speak. But there are a lot more going on, and of course, we've been very excited about this year. Our enrollment is increasing, particularly on the main campus, and we saw an increase here in Oklahoma City. So we are very excited about this school year. It does appear that it's going to be another great year.
I understand that there are some buildings programs going on at Langston.
Yes, we are engaged in a capital improvement. We are we have and in the progress of completing some housing for students. We have, a couple of years ago, we decided that we would move toward making living accommodations at Langston University of quality. Every student eventually will have their own room. And, of course, we have a massive program we're engaged with now, accommodating 600 additional students. And that we haven't finished all of that, but it should all be completed this fall. Talk about it by October the 1st. So, yes, there's a lot of building activities going on. We're expanding our gymnasium, doubling the capacity there. Later on this fall, we'll start on the stadium. As you well know, we will play no games on our campus, football games this year, because we are getting ready to renovate the stadium.
You're getting ready, or have you started on it?
Well, we have started on parts of it, but there's so much construction going on back in there until we just can't do the game.
Well, where will the games be played?
The games will be, home games will be played. Some will be played at Taft Stadium, which will be the first home game will be played in Guthrie, which will be Parents' Day on the 22nd of September. We'll be playing in the Guthrie Stadium. It's not unfamiliar to alumni because during the era of the 60s, I do recall that most of our games were played there. So we'll play a couple of games there, and then, of course, on the 29th, one of our home games will be played there in Oklahoma City at Taft Stadium. That is the 29th, which will be the Tim Chris Classic. And we'll have in a parade. This will be the first time we will have been engaged in a parade on that day. That's going to kick off homecoming week, the 29th of September.
Okay, well, let me go back to homecoming. When is homecoming?
October the 6th.
Okay, now, you're saying that you're going to have a parade at Langston?
We're going to have a parade at Langston on homecoming.
At what time?
At the regular time, 10 o'clock.
Okay, at the regular time.
Yes.
10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? Or
Central.
Okay. Now you're going to have a parade at 10 o'clock. What time will the game start?
The game will start at 2 o'clock.
Okay, now how do people get from Langston to Guthrie?
Oh, you'll be surprised. There's old Highway 33 that's under construction, and we are just so happy that it won't be 4-lane by then, but construction is on its way. I just imagine they'll get there, and many will come directly to the game, I'm assuming. Everyone don't come to the parade anyway, as you well know. But they'll make it, Clara.
They'll be there, and that homecoming is when?
October the 6th, 2001. Of course, it will be a game between Langston University Lions and the Haskell something.
The Haskell something.
Okay, well, I don't know what their names are.
Okay, but you know there will be a game.
Yes.
Will you have the Battle of the Bands this year?
Yes, the Battle of the Bands is going to take place in Oklahoma City on the 29th at the Tim Chris Classic. We are going to have the Battle of the Bands there because we're going to have a parade there, and we thought we'll have more time, and we're going to have a real big show for Oklahoma City.
Well, Oklahoma City deserves
it. There, and of course, the Ocean of Soul from Texas Southern, but none would be greater than the Marching Pride from LU.
You are quite interesting. Here you are, a country boy from Boley, Oklahoma.
That's right.
The president of Langston University. How many years have you been out there?
I've been president for 21 years. It don't take 1 hour from me, Clara.
21 years, and since then you've been all over the world. I understand you were in South Africa.
Yes, we not only but now I'm sending my students. I'm very proud of that. Our students are going every summer to study in Africa. One group is studying in South Africa. The other group is studying in West Africa. And when these students come back to Langston University campus, they are so empowered. And we plan, and we know that 10 years from now we'll have a generation of African Americans and others who really have a strong appreciation of their heritage.
Now I know there were some buildings destroyed at Langston University in order to improve the campus. What buildings were destroyed?
Which mean destroyed?
I don't know what I mean. Yes.
Oh, none.
Oh, you didn't tear down any buildings?
Oh, no. We don't believe in that anymore. You know, unfortunately, years ago, in order to get a new building, you had to tear something down. But I must say, in more contemporary times, we are preserving. Preservation is very important. So we're preserving everything. What we're doing, we will be restoring, for an example, Bro Hall, which we now have young men in there. We are going to move the men out, but we're getting ready to retrofit that building into an Oklahoma African American museum, so that we can display all of the great works that you and others have done of African American descent.
Well, I sure want to be in that building, because when I went to Langston University, I was poorer than Job's turkey.
You were no poorer than I was.
I had to stay out in town and walk on the campus, and oh boy, to be in that historic is something.
Well, you will
something.
be in it, in all of the great work you have done in this great state will be profiled. We think that it is only proper. I'm happy to say that that's one of the projects for the Oklahoma Centennial celebration. They have identified, they asked us what we would like to do in preparation for Oklahoma Centennial 2007, and we want to have in place that facility to honor the great works of African Americans and the contributions so many have made in this great state.
Well, you better know that any time a president can stay at Langston University for 21 years, you're going so. And I don't mean to be personal, but what other president has been out there for 21 years?
Well, Dr. Harrison had the longest tenure prior to mine.
How long was that?
That was 20 years.
20 years. Well, you're the captain.
Well,
you're the king.
No.
King Ernest Holloway.
Let's call him Doctor.
No.
Doctor.
Look at Clara Luper. I'm just Ernest Holloway from Bowley, but after you get to Bowley, I am from IXL. Make no mistakes about it.
IXL.
IXL,
Okay.
and we have now become a town.
Well, it's time we only become a town. Dr. Holloway, I would like to congratulate you and compliment you for the work that you have done at Langston University. And I was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I talked a girl from Texas to come to Langston University, and boy, she, her mother, and her pastor came up here, and they say that orientation was out of sight for freshmen.
Well, thank you, Clara. Well, we appreciate all of the great work that you're doing and others are doing. And I want to say this to the Oklahoma City audience. You know, we have our campus here in Oklahoma City, and we are improving in the enrollment there. We haven't focused on enrollment so much here in our program, but now we are. I know that there are many Langstonites, and I know many of them, I can call their names, who did not complete their degree. You know, they went a couple of years. We have brought Langston University right in your back door. Take advantage. Take advantage early. Those who have completed 40 or 50 hours and, you know, just get a degree. Langston is offering that down on Lincoln Avenue. And I just think that, I told the people in Tulsa when we first went over there, people in North Tulsa was hanging around there and everybody else was getting our degrees but them. But now I'm happy to say they are coming. So let's take advantage. Langston is here and we are here to stay, and so let's take advantage of it. That's why we are here.
Okay, we talk about Langston University being an all-black university, but aren't you an integrated university?
Langston University is a historically African-American university, but we are not all black, and we haven't been all black and so long. I was like in 1956 or 7 when I first non-black student enrolled at Langston University. So our institution is open. We are, if you look at our statistics, we are probably in percentages the most integrated institution in the state system. You know, we define integration for more than having one, and we have quite a few of others from all over the world. So we're very proud of whom we serve at Langston University.
Well, I'm very proud of Langston University, and I'm proud of you, Dr. Holloway, and may God continue to bless and keep you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for calling. Okay, Langston homecoming. Langston, let's go to Langston and get that good old solid education. Not a promise for an education, but a real one. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Hello?
Hello.
Roland Parker, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fabulous this morning.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell my side of the Oklahoma City School bond issue program and so forth. First thing I'd like to say is that I'm grateful to the Black Caucus for coming together to give leadership in trying to galvanize this community behind an effort to better our schools. Secondly, I want to thank Thelma Parks, who spends maybe 100 hours working for our schools to every 1 hour we spend. And the third thing is that we are outnumbered by white people. I know that there's $1 million or so difference between the new Douglas and the new Grant, the Grant School. But as I understand it, that they're going to move to another place and perhaps have to buy some more land at another place, and that's what they explain makes the difference. But Clara, I realize that we don't get all that we want, don't get all that we request. But when we started out with this thing, when Opio and them started out to challenge what was on the board at first, they were pretty adamant in what they were going to do. In fact, somebody had said that they were going to carry it without our help. But we backed them up and made them modify that plan somewhat. Now, I admit I'm not as happy with it as I could be if I were able to make them give some more. I'm not altogether happy that Parker Elementary School is being closed. But we're going to have a new school, practically new at Green Pastures, because it's going to be completely renovated and added to. We're going to try to develop a senior citizens daycare center at Parker Elementary. And my thing is, we can't match white people dollar for dollar because they are in the majority. But I feel that on behalf of our kids, on behalf of, say, sophomore students and all, we ought to get all that we can. And when we have wrung their wrists and squeezed all that we can from them, then I think we ought to galvanize this community and get behind this thing and pass the bond program and take our kids out of these leaky, screeching buildings and put some technical equipment in there and get on with the education. I feel that we've done the first step. We haven't done it perfect, but we did the best we could. The next step, the next round, is going to be the shuffling of personnel, blacks and whites and so forth, and you know how that always goes, and that's going to be another fight. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to laugh this thing off like some of these folk who call in and make it funny. It isn't funny to me when kids are sitting in dripping school buildings, rotting down on them, and so forth. I'm 80 years old, and I'm going to fight with every ounce in my body to get every dollar I can. When you compare Langston, we all proud of Langston. When you compare Langston with OSU, you could say, well, where's the money? Well, the money is at OSU, of course. That's where the majority is, compared to Central University even. And it's just been like that all along.
Okay,
but you made a
Park.
great difference over the period of your life. We've joined with you and helped to make that great difference, and we are not where we ought to be, but we have to move on, get all we can get, and move on to the next level, and then next time around maybe we'll do better.
I have asked and invited Mrs. Parks to be on the Clara Luper radio show, but she has always refused, and that's not important. The important thing is you feel that we got all we could get.
Yeah, I feel we did.
Okay, now we are talking about the kids. Why do you realize that we are going back to a completely segregated school?
I don't dispute that, and maybe that's not good, but I'm not all that hung up on whether my kid's going to be next to white kids or not. I was not next to white kids, but I guarantee you, whenever I'm playing on a field with them now, I can play the game as well as they can. And I just think that we need to get behind our kids and help them to develop their self-worth, their self-respect, and to get what they can out of education wherever they are.
Reverend Park, are you saying that putting them in new schools will develop their self-image?
No, I'm not saying that. I
saying?
told you that there's another step, and then when that's complete, there will be another step.
Saying anything against Thelma Parks as such, but she
Parks.
approved that first plan, didn't she?
Well, the first plan wasn't approved because it...
Didn't she? Wasn't she on that committee for that first plan?
No. As far as I know, when I talked to Thelma, she has always spoken, and I visited with her and Dr. Weitzer and all. She has always stood firm against the fact that they were closing all the schools on the east side.
Well, I hope she can call me at 672-1220. I would love to hear Thelma's side of it.
We're moving on.
Yeah. Well, that's my side. And thank you for letting me...
Reverend Parker, I told the Board of Education and represented I didn't trust the board. And I don't, Reverend Parker. Why should I?
Well, I don't trust them either, to the point where I can go home and go to sleep and forget. I promise you, I will be looking down their throats with all the energy I have. I was at the point this week where I had to take 5 minutes to get out of bed because of my back injury. Okay. But I will be there with every ounce of strength that I can muster until the Lord says enough's done.
Well, enough of yours will not be done until this thing is completed. Thank you so very kindly for calling, and thank you for giving your side. If you have a side, call us at 672-1220. Is that right, Calvin?
That's certainly right, Mom. That is the right number. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. And, you know, we did, I found what the guy said about the promises made that have not been kept. I think that hit the nail right on the head for Oklahoma City and from my experiences here.
Well, I know one thing, Calvin.
I don't know.
I've served on committees.
Many a promise.
I served on the retirement board for one day, and I did my job well. I asked a question, where are the blacks? And the next day I knew anything, I was fired.
Okay. Let's go with this call here because we want to get in many calls as we can.
Okay.
Thank you for calling and being a part of the Clara Luper Radio Show on a Saturday morning to be remembered. Fighting for Oklahoma, fighting for Oklahoma City, fighting for our kids, making sure that they have the best, not just in buildings.
They need the best in teachers, and I was surprised that the governor said he couldn't understand why. Oh, let me tell you something about the state. I want you to go look at that school that's supported by the state on Lincoln Boulevard. That is another example of state money where they are educating white children. I don't think it's 5 black children up there in that big school with all that equipment.
Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for calling. Hello?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Coco Thomas, your fantastic reporter. As you know, our NAACP Youth Council meetings are every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And I would like to say that the NAACP is a learning experience. It teaches you etiquette, black history, and how to speak with class. So if you would like to learn something that you don't know or learn something that you would like to know, just come join us every Monday night. This is Coco Thomas, your fantastic reporter.
Thank you, Coco Thomas.
Thank you, Coco. Coco's at work today, Mom. You know that? She's working today down at Stale's Restaurant.
That's a good place.
On Northeast 23rd on the Clara Luper Cardinal.
Real soul food. Yeah.
Real soul food.
Well, we talking about how we love each other. Do we love each other enough to support black businesses? That's what I want to know. Do we love each other? How much love do we have?
Well, let's try this caller. Maybe we can find out something from this caller, too. Thank you for being a part of the Clara Luper Radio Show. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, doing fine.
All right. That voice sounds
familiar. Here comes the wisdom.
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Who is this?
Speaking that Daniel.
Okay.
The words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. The heart of education is education of the heart.
The heart of education is
education of the heart.
Education of the heart. The heart of education
is education of the heart.
Right.
Okay.
Fluky, that's great. That's excellent.
Well, thank you so very kindly for being a part of the Clara Luper radio show, and I do appreciate you.
All right.
You are being that part. People just wait for words of wisdom.
Words to spend your week by. And we want you to be a part of the Clara Luper radio show, not only by listening, but taking notes and writing down the things that we say. Be a part of it. 672-1220 is our number. That's Fluky McDaniels, Words of Wisdom. And you're going to hear, this is a crucial time for Oklahoma City. What you're going to do, who's going to do what you're going to do. Are you going to sit and watch, or are you going to get out there and do something?
But one thing about it, we've got to laugh. The only reason black people in America today is because they laugh. You remember when our forefathers was out on those hot fields and they were so tired, and the master said to me, Clara, are you tired? Yes, sir, master. But in the evening, we would laugh and we would have some fun. Laughter is good for the soul. Now, one thing, I have worked with the white folks and the black folks, and yet you all have made me cry. I can say that you sure have made me cry. It's been some crying
times. There's been some almost times we could have cried, but
because I remember
when
we were fighting against neighborhood schools. All neighborhood schools are good. The little children won't have to stand out on the street. They won't have to be bused. Well, maybe in that $580 million, they'll buy some helicopters where they can helicopter the children. That's just.
You know they're not going to do that.
I don't know what they are going to do. I'm real, and you got my opinion. And I say, once again, I'd like to say that I don't trust the Board of Education, but I would like for members of the Board of Education to come out here and make me believe it. And the reason I don't believe, I was born on Bull Street, Helfer Avenue, ran to my back door, and my telephone number was K-O-K-O-K-O. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Now, we're going to watch this, and if you notice, I haven't told you how I'm going to vote. I just asked some questions, and I want to know how much of my money is going to be spent for chartered schools. And I know, though, if you believe that the white folks are going to move back in Oklahoma City. Now, they're talking about building a new school downtown. Who do you think they're building that school for? We can't even find a place to park downtown that we can afford.
You're right, Mom. But, this has been an exciting week, and I'm glad Mrs. Park goes to the meetings.
I want Miss Parks to come out
here.
I'm
glad Clytus goes to the meetings. But, I'm a student of Mrs. Parks. I know she was an excellent teacher. I know she's done a good job.
Sure, she's excellent. She's a graduate of Langston University.
Oh, okay, but
she's on the ball. I haven't said nothing against her character
but
or
then
anything.
The whole board is being responsible for this activity here. The whole city council is being responsible for this activity here. I love what Dr. Holloway is doing, has done at Langston, where he's taken the buildings that were there, and he said it's preservation, because we as black folk, we don't have nothing. Like the man said, we got a lot of promises.
I got to get this in. Let me tell you what's happening in Oklahoma City. For example, they are planning a traveling tour where they are going to Bricktown, and they want to convince me that Bricktown now has a signal of something black. I want you to go down to Bricktown. You're not going to see nothing but some big apartments that black people cannot afford. Now, and then they're going to the state capitol and back downtown. Why can't they, if they are interested in history, why can't they pass that historical Douglas High School, go straight down Martin Luther King, which is historical, past the Black History Monument, past the Urban League, and then turn around and go to the capitol? And I told them that they were not doing what was right.
You told them. Mom, it's short. We're running out of time. Call them. Sorry we can't get to you. I got to sing, Mom, because one thing that I learned at Truman Elementary School, at Douglas High School, is that I could not sing. That's why we came up with a group called the We Can't Singers. We sing birthday celebrations to you. We look forward to seeing you this week, and you being a part of the Clara Luper Radio Show. You being a part of the community. You being at the State Fair of Oklahoma, because this song goes out to my dear, sweet friend that's turning the birthday today. You told me don't call your name. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
so birthday to you. And may you, Diane, have many, may you have many more.
This is Clara Luper inviting you to give your opinion on the Clara Luper radio show. Bye-bye. I do love you.
We'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the Clara Luper Show. Join Sister Clara Luper here each and every Saturday from 9 until 10 at your number one gospel station, KTLV. And until next Saturday, may God bless you.
And the views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were not necessarily those of AM Radio 1220 KTLV.
Father, I need I need your help and a hand.